Good morning, or depending when you're watching this, good afternoon, good evening, or good night. My name's Ross, and as always told, out of Voice Radio. So today, I'm going to be showing you all of the promotional cards that you can get for the Detective Pikachu movie. Now, I've already done a video showing you all of the main cards from the set. You can buy products, and they have booster packs in, and you can get 18 cards that way. I've also done a video where I open all of the currently available products. I'll pop a link to that one in the description. So that's kind of cool. But we've got a whole bunch of promo cards, ladies and gentlemen. So we need to have a little bit of a look at the promo cards, what they are, where we get them. Now, there should be 8 of these. 7 have been revealed. But just earlier today, I showed you the Detective Yoshida card, which was leaked on the side of a van of all things over in Japan. That is likely to be the 8th and final promo, though it has not been confirmed, and we have not been given any information as to how you get it. Personally, I want it to be a promo card you get given when you go to the cinema. That would be awesome. And it would make sense. But either way, I believe they're going to leave it till slightly closer to the release of the film, so there's kind of one last promo card to build a little bit of hype as we go. So what do we know? Well, the good news is there are 4 promos that are available in products. So we have a Detective Pikachu promo, and you can get this in a Detective Pikachu case file, or there is a special case file which is exactly the same, but includes a nice little portfolio folder thing that you can put your cards in. It's got 90 HP, which is very high for a Pikachu, but remember this is Detective Pikachu, so it cannot evolve into Raichu. Maybe it could evolve into Detective Raichu, if such a thing were real. It's not. As for the attack, 1 lightning energy, look at the top 4 cards of your deck, put one of them in your hand, shuffle the other cards back into your deck. It's fine as a little bit of search, but it's also an attack, and most of the time, it's not worth it, ladies and gentlemen. I love the card, I just don't think it's terribly viable. Now, we're also getting 3 GXs that are coming in case files, and like I've said, I open all of these in my video, check the link in the description. So we are getting a Charizard GX, and look, Charizard GX is huge. It's got 250 HP, which is gigantic, and it does 200 damage for 5 energy, which is gigantic, and it does 250 for the same 5 energy, and you discard an energy from each of your opponent's Pokemon. Discarding an energy from each Pokemon, incidentally, is Gyarados' GX attack. Plus, you get to do 250 damage, which is huge. It's way too expensive. Even in a format where we've got stuff like Kiawe to accelerate energy, even where we've got stuff like Reshiram GX to accelerate energy, even where we've got the first attack that discards the top 8 cards of your deck, and if any of them are fire energy, you attach them to this Pokemon, it's too expensive. I'm sorry, ladies and gentlemen, I like it, and I have actually done videos about these GXs, really looking into them in detail. I'll link them in the description as well. It's not that it's a bad card, because it can do huge damage, it's got huge HP, we've got ways to accelerate the energy. It's not a bad card per se, but when you compare it to stuff like Flareon GX, or the upcoming Reshiram and Charizard GX, there's just not really any reason to play this, which is a little bit sad. Mewtwo GX is similarly underwhelming. Now, it is a basic, which is nice, and it's got 190 HP, which is quite nice. But none of the attacks are particularly inspiring. Psychic and a colorless energy, 50 damage to one of your opponent's Pokemon. And although it's not affected by resistance, which is good for metal Pokemon like Solgaleo, it also isn't affected by weakness, which means you're not going to be able to do huge damage to something like a Buzzwole, which makes me really sad. The main attack, 2 Psychic, 2 colorless energy, 120 damage plus confusion, is fine. And you can use double colorless energy, and you can put this into a Malamar deck. What's the problem? We've just got better options. We've got stuff like Ultra Necrozma, which is just a better attacker in a Malamar deck, and for that reason I just can't really encourage this much at all. Now, 2 Psychic, 2 colorless, 180 damage, and it gets immunity next turn. This is the reason to play Mewtwo. You prevent all damage done by attacks during your opponent's next turn. Now, it doesn't prevent effects of attacks, just damage, But it's not a million miles away from Dawnwing's Necrozma's GX attack, except that can only be used if you are behind on prizes. Now, that was also for 3 Psychic Energy rather than 2 Psychic, 2 Colourless, but they did the same amount of damage, but Dawnwing's Necrozma did get complete immunity, not just from damage. This is a fine GX attack. It's okay, it's alright, it's fine. The best of the GXs is Greninja GX, which again is coming in its own case file, as are all of these. And the 230 HP for a Stage 2 is a little bit low, but no lower than Gardevoir, or indeed the other Greninja. The thing is, this could actually be a phenomenally good card. You can play it from your hand straight onto the bench as if it were a basic Pokemon. Just so long as you've got no other cards in your hand. But do something like go down to 3 cards in hand and use an Ultra Ball to discard the other 2 and search this out. And as if that's not good enough, when you put it down onto your bench, you get to draw 3 cards. So you've got a 0 card hand after you play Greninja, but then you immediately draw until you got a 3 card hand. This is really nice. Water and a colourless, 130 damage, not affected by weakness, resistance, or any other effects on your opponent's active Pokemon. That's stuff like the aforementioned Dawnwing's Necrozma. That's stuff like Lucamine Prism Star that gives immunity to Ultra Beasts. That is stuff like the upcoming Lucario and Melmetal Tag Team GX, which reduces all damage done by 30, but not from a Greninja. There are so many cool little things you can do with Greninja just going through your opponent's effects that it is awesome. Now, the GX attack I'm not a fan of. 1 water energy, put one of your opponent's bench Pokemon and all cards attached to it into your opponent's hand. And you can use it to get rid of Pokemon on the bench. Maybe there's a Pikarom with 6 energy they're getting ready to use, and then they lose all the energy attachments. Maybe you're playing a Vikavolt deck and they've only got 1 Vikavolt, so you get rid of their only Stage 2 and they can't accelerate energy. There are reasons to play this, and there are going to be times where this works, but it's going to be largely underwhelming. But for the GX attack and the attack, I legitimately think Greninja GX is a really, really good card. So what about the other promos then? Well, the good news is we've got 3 of them, and there is a handy little table which has been published on the Pokemon website, Pokemon.com, which shows where they're all being given out. So let's have a quick look at the cards, and then we'll have a quick look where to find them. Starting off, we are getting ourselves a Bulbasaur. 70 HP is quite high, although it means you can't use Professor Elm's Lecture, which is a little bit sad. 1 colourless energy, 10 damage, 2 grass and a colourless, 50 damage. These aren't good attacks, but do remember it's an evolving Pokemon. This is really a cool card for collectors rather than a powerhouse because it's an evolving Pokemon. Similarly, we are also getting ourselves a Psyduck. Now, the cool thing to remember here is that both of these Pokemon, all 3 of these in fact, do have cards in the main set, but they're actually different cards. They're not just alternate art. And it would have been really easy to just lazily do some alternate art here, so I really appreciate that they're giving us other cards here. Is it any good? No. Water and a colourless, 30 damage, really not good. Plus, it's got 10 less HP than the one in the set, and the one in the set's got an easier to use and probably better attack. So it's just flat out worse than the one in the Detective Pikachu set, but I still appreciate that we're getting it. And then we're also getting a Snubbull. 60 HP. It's got Paralyzing Gaze, double colourless energy, flip a coin if hedge your opponent's active Pokemon is now paralysed. It's alright. It's not flat out over the top terrible, but again, the other one in the set can do 40 damage for a double colourless energy. Although the paralysis could be good. I can see an argument here, but I probably prefer the one in the set that's got more HP and a better attack. So, okay, these promos aren't particularly great, but they're still cool and they're still promos and I still love them. Where do we get them? Well, the table on the screen will show you where you actually go about getting them. In the UK, you go to Waterstones for Bulbasaur. Psyduck can be got at Game, and Snubbull is in Smith's, although as it stands at the moment, it is only Psyduck that is actually available. In the US, you've got Bulbasaur at Walmart, Psyduck at Target, Snubbull at GameStop. Australia sees Bulbasaur at Mr. Toy and Toymate. I'm assuming that's a real shop. Psyduck at Big W and Snubbull at EB Games. Ireland has Bulbasaur at Easton, Psyduck at GameStop and Snubbull at Smith's. France has Bulbasaur at Auchan, Psyduck at Maxi Toys, Snubbull at Toys R Us. Yeah, Toys R Us is still a thing in France, apparently. Italy sees Bulbasaur in Mondadori, Psyduck in GameStop, and Snubbull at Toy Centre and Media World. Bulbasaur is Germany in Toys R Us. Does that make sense? Let's say it does. Psyduck in GameStop, Snubbull at Spielmax. And Spain has Psyduck in Game and the other two to be determined. So, what I would say is, depending on what country you're in, just contact those shops. Most of them, especially in the UK, it's spend X amount of money on product, get the promo card for free. That's generally how it tends to work. So there we go, ladies and gentlemen. Now you know all the promo cards coming in Detective Pikachu and how you go about getting them. But I would like to know what you think about them. So please do let me know in the comment section. Go nuts, but please do remember the rule. Be nice, would ya? And then make sure you like this video, subscribe to this channel, follow me on Twitter at TheWassy, and Twitch for some live action at twitch.tv/PTCGRadio. If you want to support the channel, get some bonus podcasts and all that, head on over to patreon.com/PTCGRadio, where you can do exactly that. And please do make sure you're checking out youtube.com/WassyPlays, where we talk about games that don't have Pokemon in. But by far the most important thing, as always, look after yourselves till next time. Thank you very much for watching. My name's Ross, and you've been watching PTCG Radio.